Hello fellow viewer, and here QC War Chief. Welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry for the past 2 months. I had to deal with some stuff in my life and work on some other stuff as well in game developments in general. Today guys, I'm back in Elite Dangerous and I'm gonna talk to you about the instance, how the game has been made by the developers for you to play it. And for doing so, I'm gonna present you this with a chart, guys. You already see it. It's a circular chart and you can calculate the whole circle like it's the whole server that we share together. Technically, the galaxy represents the server, so whenever you set your path from one star to another, you find yourself looking at the galaxy, the main server that we all share together, even though we are at sometimes 40,000 light years away from each other. We're gonna calculate this instance as the green one inside the chart, because technically that place, even though you don't necessarily go there a lot, it represents the whole game. So whenever you set that to different system, you're gonna use the galaxy instance, the galaxy layer, or the galaxy server, where what we could call it. On the chart again, guys, when you travel between systems, you find yourself in supercruise, you find yourself in light speed technically. This light speed is also technically an instance itself, because to travel between systems you're gonna have to go with light speed, and when you go light speed it offers a totally new panel of mechanic inside the game. This is where you're gonna be having the speed to jump from one system to another. This is where you travel fast from one system to another, and this is where you also travel fast within the system when you want to go to the star, the other planet, stations, and all the stuff like that. This is technically what consists into a whole instance. We're going to call this one the system instance, or supercruise instance, or light year instance. Light speed, sorry. Whenever you find yourself using the frame shift drive, the FSD, it's because you switch from one instance to the other. This is the drive that gives you the chance to change your speed. Every time you switch speed, you switch instance. It's not the speed at which you go, it's the speed in which you find your ship. Is it light speed or is it more like sound speed? So if you look at the chart once again, I told you guys that the green part will represent the galaxy. The blue part would represent the system, because it's still a huge instance. You travel within the systems, it's a playable instance because you still drive, you still pilot your ship, you still deal with your module, you still play the game in there. But it's the goal in that instance is to travel fast, not necessarily to play directly. And when you trigger the FSD again to go at your lower speed, the lowest one, let's calculate this one as the purple violet one. This is a small portion, but it's still the one that you play the most in. It's the one that includes all the planets. All the time you trigger your FSD to slow down in order to fight a pirate, fight anything else inside the game. This is the playable instance, and this is where you find yourself playing most of the time. When you start the game, it's confusing. It's a needle in a haystack all the time, and if you look at the whole chart, basically the needle is wandering in the whole chart like it's a big haystack, but there is multiple other haystack around, and the frame shift drive gives you the chance to switch from one instance to another to travel fast to get to point A to point B, and then you find yourself into the regular instance, the playable instance, where you do your stuff. One of the things that we may not realize as gamers is that game developers, game companies, have a certain limit concerning performance. It's why there is many instances inside the game in general, and when these instances fall inactive, as there is no player in it, the instance got to be falling idle. And this is something that we can use as player, because every time the instance goes idle, it resets. And that's why when you guys do the Guardian structure, I strongly suggest that you just go up in orbit and come back down on the planet to reset the instance. Most of the player in solo will simply disconnect to do so, but when you play with the whole wing, it gets hard to synchronize. Not everybody plays with the same generation of console, and because of that, sometimes we load slower a little bit. So I suggest when we do team activity that we use the switch of instance to reset the instance. So every time you trigger a FSD, you switch the instance. So if you want to come back on the planet and keep farming it because you are at the Guardian structure, you want the stuff to respawn, one of the options you have is to simply go back in orbit, trigger the FSD, and wait a few seconds, fly a little bit, and come back down on the planet. The FSD will trigger off, you will land, and everything will reset. It's working also in the same direction for the systems as well. I surely hope, guys, that you understand a little bit better the instance inside the game. Remember that this mechanic is essentially it's the same in every game. If I make a small comparison, GTA will have a 24 player in their instance. This is one instance. And every time they have another instance up, it's a 24 players, but nothing is linked. Everything is separate. That's the difference in that game, where the Galaxy will hold everything together, in which you travel between systems using Supercruise and Lightspeed, in which you will trigger off the Supercruise and go fight pirates, land on a station, and go do your things inside the game. Every time you trigger a FSD, you reset an instance if there is no player in. You got to remember that if you leave a player behind, it's not gonna be resetting. The instance got to be empty every time you need to reset. This is QC War Chief, guys. It's been really nice to come back on YouTube a little bit. I've been missing you a little bit there. I hope this explanation concerning the instance is helping you a little bit understand where you stand inside the game. Please come back, please subscribe, and thank you very much, guys. Have a good one.